Now, I'm Joseph. This is Programming Simplified Now. Today, let's have a look on how to get started as a backend developer. For the beginners, there are a few things that you need to get started to be a backend developer. First of all, you need to pick uh, a programming language that is favorable for you, and in other words, that will be easier for you to pick up. First of all, you need to do a research. You need to do a research even according to the country that you live in. You need to do a research which language is trending in your country, that is common, that will favor you getting a job in your country. There are different countries that where most languages are mostly used. So you need to favor that if you'd like to get a job within your country. In other words, another thing is that um, we are looking at the roadmap for the backend developer that will favor you in the world of software development. So you need to know what HTTP is. Knowing that is one of the things that you should consider. What is HTTP? We see that it is the hypertext transfer protocol. This is where the communication between the front end and the back end, it helps to communicate between the back end and the front end, so that there is an interaction to make the application interactive. So you need to know what API is, which is Application Programming Interface. You need to know what API is. So for the API, it's where the data that is used in the front end, it's where the data is got. Data that is received within the front end comes direct from an API. So you need to know what an API is, so that you become a good backend developer. You need to do a research on that. So another thing is that one of the languages that I would like, I will bring a few languages that I think are popular, and I think they can help you get started with the backend development. One of the languages is Python. Python is a good language to get started with. Even it's easier. It's easier to understand according to the languages that are used. Python is a good choice, I think. If you wish, even you can do your own research, which language is easier to learn. Uh, do a research. In other words, getting started, you need to do a lot of research so that you get started when you know something very clear. So another thing is that another language is Next.js. It's also good. It's also good. Another thing is that you need to learn. You need to learn JavaScript if you wish to be a front-end developer at the same time to be a back-end developer, because JavaScript is used both for the front end and back end, but Python is for back end. So another thing is that you can learn PHP. PHP is also good. Uh, some companies do use, is also common. Another language is Java. You can move on to Java if you wish. there is also an option of learning Java. But first of all, do a research. Do a research on which type of language that you will need. So another thing is, after picking a language, you you'll need to get a framework to use. You'll need a framework. A framework is also something good that will simplify your life of coding. Your coding process will get simplified if you pick a framework. There are backend frameworks, different frameworks that uh, you'll pick. First of all, create an API without using a framework. An API in your vanilla language, such as Java, you can create an API before using a framework to get the primary understanding of your language. Another thing is that um, there are types of frameworks. For Python, first of all, for Python, you can pick a framework which is the Django. There is also Flask. Those are Python frameworks. So they are not the only ones. You can do a research and search for other frameworks, and which is easier for you. Another thing is that you can pick a JavaScript framework. We have Express framework. There is Nest.js, and there are many more. There is also another framework for PHP. Pick a PHP framework. You can go for Laravel. Laravel may work for you. I think it is somehow easier to understand. There is another framework for Java, which is Spring. Spring, I think, will be good on your side. It's so popular. It's popular, commonly used for Java developers. Another thing is, if you get the understanding of that, the language plus the framework, then you can go and learn a database. Learning a database is something next that you will need. There are lots of databases, but it's good. I advise you that you pick a database that you need. There is no need of learning each and every database. Pick only one that you think you're interested in, that will simplify your life of coding. So there are two types of databases. We have SQL database, and we have no SQL database. They are a bit different. If you do a research, SQL database, we see that SQL databases has a structure. It has a structure. It has some columns and rows for the SQL database. But once you come to the NoSQL database, uh, NoSQL database has no structure. In other words, it's flexible. You can structure it the way you want. It has no structure, so you can structure it if you want. So I'd like to bring out some examples of databases that you may pick up of your choice. We have MongoDB. It's a NoSQL database. Now that it's flexible. It's flexible. You can do something that you need. I can style it the way you want. NoSQL database. That's MongoDB. And another thing is we have MySQL. It's also common. It's commonly used. MySQL. Uh, Another, we have Redis. Redis database. This is a NoSQL database. In other words, it's flexible. It's Redis. We have SQLite. SQLite. Uh, that's also a good database. It's SQL database. It's not no SQL database, but it's SQL database. So in others, it's structured. It has a structure. uh, you can do a good research about it. Another thing is that we have Microsoft SQL Server, and we have Oracle database. We also have Amazon database. So for that, uh, you can also do a good research on all databases, and you pick a database that will favor you. So another thing is that after you need to deploy your work for the backend, so that you can easily utilize that in the front end. So we have platforms that are used in deployment. We have platforms that you can use in deployment. We have platforms like AWS, uh, 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 for the Amazon Web Services. uh, that's Amazon Web Services, AWS. We have uh, Microsoft Azure. It's also a good platform that you can use in deployment. So if you need a simple deployment, to deploy a simple API, uh, you can need a simple API to deploy. In other words, you may not know how to configure things within the database. You need something simple. You need to use Hello. Hello is so easier. It's so easier to learn. You can use Hello to deploy your work. So another thing, we have Google Cloud. Google Cloud is also used in deployment. There is also DigitalOcean, also good to deploy your work. So I think those are some of the ideas I would like to come up with, and I think they would be of good help on your side to get started with the back-end development. So uh, if you're new here, I'm Joseph. Uh, just take time to like the video if it was so helpful on your side, and hit that notification button, so that you're the first person to get any new published video. Thanks for watching. See you then in the next video.